Welcome everyone to the Broadwater County Parks and Recreation Board for Monday, April 29th, 2024, 6 o'clock here at the Commissioners Building. So could we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'd like to welcome our guests today. We have Al Christopherson and John Bliley. We have any public comments on the items not included on the agenda? Okay. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes from both March 18th and April 4th.
I will motion to approve the minutes for March 18th and April 4th.
I'll second.
Yes. Sorry. All right, thank you very much, Lacey, and we'll have Bill for a second. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of a shuffling here so that we can talk about the Connors Field Vault Toilet with our Broadwater County planner, Nicole Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Nicole Brown, Broadwater County Community Development Director, reporting on the Connorsfield Vault Toilet. There was a discussion at the previous Parks and Rec Board meeting on the timing installation of the vault toilet. As many of you know, but for the public's benefit, I will give a brief history or overview on that. The Parks and Rec Board put a down payment on a vault toilet, an ADA compliant vault toilet from Missoula Concrete. This deposit was paid in 2022, the end of 2022. That vault toilet is now being fabricated and will be ready for delivery to Broadwater County sometime in May, should we choose to accept it. And what I mean by saying that, we have to have the site prepped. So the location at Connorsfield needs to be decided, and the hole needs to be excavated, as well as 3 inches of base material, either a sand or a 3-inch minus gravel, placed into the bottom of said excavated trench hole in order for Missoula Concrete to set the toilet. And then we need to pay the second half of this. So to date, Parks and Rec has paid approximately $9,800. The second half of that payment will be due upon delivery. So far, we've had a little bit of struggle trying to find a company or a person that's licensed, bonded, insured to dig the hole at Connorsfield in order to be ready to receive the toilet. So there was discussion at the previous Parks and Rec meeting on, can we cancel the receipt of the vault toilet? Can we get a refund? So I'm just here today to report that we can get a refund, but Missoula Concrete will hold back a portion of our deposit. I have not received confirmation from that company on how much they are going to retain. So I do not have a full response for you in that I know they will retain some of the $9,800, but I don't know how much. I'm still working to get that dollar amount from them. They also stated they could hold the vault toilet for us until 2025. So about, late spring of 2025, if we were better prepared to receive the vault toilet, they would hold it at no charge. So 3 options, even though they are not full options, and I'm not expecting you to make a motion today because you don't have the full response from me. But options are to proceed as is and hustle to find a company and or person to excavate the site for the vault toilet. Option number 2, to hold off until 2025, hold off on receiving the vault toilet until 2025, or 3, request to cancel our request, essentially, for the vault toilet, and Missoula Concrete will retain an unknown dollar amount. So, again, not expecting you to make that decision today because you don't have all the facts in front of you.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
That's Bill Duty. I would suggest on cutting our losses and seeing what kind of refund we can get back. Because on the overall cost, by the time you add the concrete and all this stuff in, went online and you can rent ADA portable toilets that would be put on site, and you could rent those, and for the amount of money that the vault toilet would cost by it being put in, plus the concrete work and everything, you could rent those for a long time. And plus they maintain them, they empty them. We don't have to do that. So we cut our costs that way. And I would just see how much we get. That would be my recommendation, is cut our losses, see what we get back, and then look at this, because Connors, what do you use it, 3 months, 4 months? And all from the different ballparks that we go to, that's what all the parks are going to. They're going to these porta potties, just on the fact of the maintenance to keep them clean, upkeep, everything like that. Where you rent that from a company, they come in and they do all that. And so that's and talking to some of those guys, that's why. It's just the maintenance of it. And they figure that you can rent those for a long time for that amount of money. So that would be my suggestion, would be to cut our losses and see if we can get a refund.
Any other comments from any of the other board?
I think that it's hard to make a decision without knowing that number. Obviously, we have to be good stewards of the county's money that's already been spent. So I say we table it. I would make a motion that we table it until next month, and hopefully we have that cost.
Okay.
I agree. I second what she said.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Any input? Okay. We have a motion to table the discussion until we can get further information. Motion's, no discussion, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And motion's passed by unanimous. We'll go ahead and table that one, and we'll do some more homework, okay?
And I will continue to work with Missoula Concrete to get that finite number well in advance of next month's meeting, so you have time to make your decision.
Okay, and we did not receive any bids whatsoever?
No, we didn't even work to get bids, because that was, the question then became, do we even want the toilet?
Okay.
So after the last meeting, there was no continuation of searching for bids.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think Delger's cost with the concrete work to bring the sidewalk over, finish the concrete, the pad and stuff like that was $31,000.
And that
Added on to the vault toilet. So it's putting that vault toilet up to just below 60,000.
Mm-hmm. I will tell you that I was over in Centennial Park in Helena on Saturday. Not really appreciative of how those toilets looked out in the middle of the open, as well as how they've been kept up over there in their city, in their park. It was also tied to the tree to keep it from blowing over. And I believe that my thoughts are that we should pursue a permanent structure, however that may be. But that's just me. So,
to go along with that, I was concerned about the handicap. I know they got handicap portables, but still,
it's difficult to get a wheelchair up that
Yes.
6 inches.
Yeah,
I don't care if ADA is, if they have the rails, but you still have to, it's not necessarily wheelchair accessible.
Exactly.
But we can discuss that at a future date, at the next meeting. Okay. All
And
right.
Madam Chair, I need to leave, but thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you have questions, certainly just send an email.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and move on to Heritage Park Playground. We have no city council liaison here with us tonight.
No, Doug said he would not be here. He has a meeting with another city meeting. He couldn't
Okay.
come.
So we'll move on to number 6, which is update for Heritage Park.
Okay, so I got an email from Stacy that said, looking at a June install for the Heritage Park playground equipment, still waiting on equipment. That was the bulk of the email there.
So she apparently was able to get the final funding.
Didn't say that, just two sentences. I'm not, yeah, I could just maybe assume that, but no.
Okay. All right. Okay, the concept design for the county recreation property for Centerville and the Desert Canyon Road. You gonna
So
do that one,
this-
Lacey?
This was, the thought was that we all have a nice aerial in front of us that we could kind of talk through how and what we saw. So our meeting with Great West, one of the things he requested is a concept design so that he needs to have a concept design to work from so that he knows how much the master plan is going to cost. So this is just another layer for him to be able to give us a cost estimate for that. So we all have an aerial in front of us to be able to work from. I'm not sure, Bill, you know.
I've got
do you
one.
Have
This-
it marked up? Do you
Yeah,
have-
this is mine, this is for
Did you work on this one, John, as well?
Depends if you guys like it or not. If you don't like it, then
Yeah.
just open it.
okay. This is sort of what
Good
the
answer.
ballpark could look like. This is my suggestion. This here, I would say, off of what I've read here, okay, we leave Connors alone, we leave Rod and Gun Club alone. The only thing that would be required of Rod and Gun would be to put up a fence, for safety plus liability issues. Let the golf course come and they could design the golf course. This is my first choice, and the reason being that this is level. We could go in there and without too much excavation work, we could actually be putting ballparks together. If this is the second choice, this would take a lot more excavation, but either way, this line here would then move probably back up into here. But I'm asking for anywhere between 20 and 25 acres, and everything would be the same. So the only difference is where they want to put these. And
Has this been cleared? Have you talked to Rod and Gun Club
I
about
don't
this
think
portion
anybody's
and their
talked to 'em.
safety?
no, I don't think
Okay.
anybody has. Other than
Debbie Rand.
Debbie was supposed to,
Well,
Okay.
Get a hold of them.
she was here in her official capacity as a commissioner, not as a Rod and Gun.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
yeah, and the other part of it is, they've already talked to Delger on taking this approach out, okay? And then putting it through here, and this makes good sense, coming through the entrance into the ballpark, coming through their park, and then you're right at their building versus coming in here, so it frees up all this ground. We can't do anything on this fence at Connors because the Rod and Gun Club put their well basically right there, right on the fence line. And so you can't really do anything there. This ground here is open. The golf course could come in and Great West, you could design your ball club, and then it's like, say if they gave us this piece, they could still wrap around and then come in. It'd make a nice looking course.
Okay, now, my concern is that we've already got some infrastructure here, playgrounds and all that. You're talking about just leaving one little field here, and then you've got everybody walking or traveling over to here.
No,
We've got to build-
there's an old existing farm field approach right in here.
Right,
That you could gain access here. This part here, you could leave this access open, you could come in here, but by time, you're not gonna do anything with Connors. I mean, it's there, I'd say that's grandfathered in, you're not touching that. Here, excuse my French on this would be a shit show. By the time you go to try to have them move on that document that they're supposed to move by
no,
2020.
I'm not talking about that.
No, but I mean, that's what it is.
She's talking about tying these two together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, and the other part of it is Delger off of his well, okay, you could actually bring water here, or the Delger family is talking about donating a water right off the Montana ditch for the golf course plus the ball field. And so you could have water coming in through here. But these are the choices that I picked for the ball field. This down here, you'd have a sunken ball field because there's a big swale out there.
Well, you'd have to, I mean, if they're gonna level this for the golf course, they're gonna be moving dirt anyway, you just bring it over. I mean,
But the
I'm not
golf course
concerned.
isn't, I don't think they're gonna, out here, why would you do that much reclamation or leveling the golf course? Because but here, for the ball field, we could start immediately on fields here, once we get there, because we've already, we're actually ready to.
So you're
to go.
basically suggesting we abandon the infrastructure here,
No, that's
I think you keep it.
That's
keep that as a
that's
small practice field or an off-site
Or your
field?
softball.
softball field, girls softball.
If it comes back,
Yep.
absolutely. And you can run it as T-ball as well if you had to.
And then this is what you're recommending or similar to over,
Yeah, because down here at McCarthy, we're coming up on numbers, okay? We're over 200, like 212 kids playing. We're running out of room big
Right,
time
right.
fast.
So Bill, just to get us back kind of on track here, this first choice area that you have,
Everything
this
fits in
would
here.
fit in there?
Yep.
Okay,
And once we get this master plan approved, Lions International is interested in helping us develop that up to $150,000. So we've got the I think we can get the finances to do this.
and Rotary just granted you start money for the baseball team, correct?
Right,
Was
so
that
that's high.
20 or 10?
High school team.
Yeah, and that's local.
10,000 for the high school.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
local, yeah. But we're talking international, and we're also gonna be contacting Rotary International.
Okay,
would that, so that 10,000, so the last I heard about high school was kind of if you build it,
They will come.
then we'll go and
That's-
we'll,
Kind of the way we took it too, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so, John Biley, Townsend Baseball, but that's the gist of it. I mean, that, two different components, but working towards the same goal.
yeah,
if that makes sense.
absolutely.
Two different
No,
organizations working for the
there's
same
no
thing.
reason that we can't all pull
Yeah.
together. Just making sure that it's for the high school complex that is also the community.
You
Yeah,
got,
because you got Babe
Yep.
Ruth, you got fields here.
Yeah, no, just.
But we were gonna include, like with L, on all these, there's walking paths that can be included in through all this. This is a conceptual design that I took in, and how I came up with these was just off of the minutes when we came into our very first meeting before we got okayed. So I just put these in. We've talked to the high school, Clint Watson's classes. They would be, if we bought the material, his classes will build all this and stuff like that. We really want to involve the kids to where they get a vested interest in this thing.
right, then it's
Yeah.
less
So,
likely to
yeah,
get
and so
vandalized.
this is my concept here.
Here you go, putting your ADA toilet in front of your concession stand again, Bill.
Well, this
So-
was just looking at,
Right,
and I put a golf course in, I just took everything off of that. People always bring their dogs, a person can put a little dog park in here. We want to put, because of our weather here, to put in an indoor practice facility, and we should be able
do
to
you
do
have the
that.
batting cages?
yeah. so
Planning
we'll-
of batting cages as
Yeah, so
well?
we'll have two, and kind of like Bill talked about, that this would go here, and then we would center batting cages depending on how this worked out or this worked out. But you could certainly use this open space if it's leveled out. You can still utilize that for pitching stuff over there. You could still use it for the golf course. You could still use it for your dog stuff that you're gonna walk around and have dogs in as well.
Yeah.
And so that's my idea. Everybody else is gonna have an idea, but they said, after we talked to Great West, they wanted, everybody to put a concept together, so that's what they did.
I would like to see the continuity. I think you have two accesses here for parking this way and this way, similar to what we did at Centennial.
Yep.
And then bring your fields over or whatever you want to do from that. But it kind of adds some continuity and ties the structure, the fields together But it also allowed you to have 2 entrances instead of just the one.
One, right, yeah,
And your parking right here,
would be right.
I don't
off.
know, foul balls, whatever.
Yeah, ideally, what I think you do is you just turn it like you normally would take this field, you turn it this way.
Right, yeah.
Move it, inset it right, and then you just have parking all along the chain link fence line.
And this is something I didn't
Yeah.
realize, but maybe you did on that, is this piece here on the side, the only thing is getting across the road. That's included in this piece, in all this piece.
Yeah. The county actually.
The county owned it, right,
2
but we
years
were
ago.
talking about the ditches and the access across that road.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Even though it's-
that would be a nightmare.
It's priced, I mean, it's signed at 35 miles an hour, people are going
But
50
they don't,
easy.
yeah, that would be
Yeah,
really questionable there.
35.
35.
Cause I thought 40, I thought Delger was up to 45 now, and I thought
And
one.
Delger, I don't think,
Yeah.
I don't think Connor, or this
But
road here.
if they do this, this would be a beautiful, I mean, it's already established. And people are used to that. If we could come in here, and you're moving your dirt, so you can do anything with,
Right.
The only
I
thing
wouldn't
we
let
were
the
looking
moving
at here.
dirt stop us
Yeah.
from having continuity.
Yeah,
And then this one, I mean, you don't want to lose your parking here either, however that works.
yeah,
You know,
this would
Moving it over to
actually,
the fence line or close to
Well,
that.
I mean, it's a fairly, it's
It's a
a
big
fairly
area,
wide,
yeah.
yeah, it's wide.
and like Delger said, I just sketched this in, this would actually
Right.
move over and you'd still have a lot of parking. And
Right.
the rod and gun, usually during a tournament or whatever out there, they're not out there anymore. And so, but this would be, again, I know Lindsay said, that document that was signed, that Mike and I, and you look at it, okay, said that wasn't
It's not
legally
binding.
filed. Yeah.
Well, it's not binding.
Oh, okay.
They do
So-
not have to move.
Yeah, and so then leave it, and like I said, they should have a most of you on your gun clubs have a perimeter where they go on. And the thing, if you're gonna have kids out here, regardless,
Yeah.
put a fence up.
This has to be marked.
This is, yeah, marked and have a fence and where they got plenty of room.
Walking in there when they're shooting or
Mm-hmm.
something.
But these areas in through here, that's where your baseball field should
Well,
go.
and that's a great concept. We still need to talk with the golf course and the rod and gun.
Mm-hmm.
before
Well, and
we-
that's the whole point behind this, is to get everybody's, to get it, just like the
Input.
Centerville, to get everything, will everything fit in here? Yes, that's the whole, and then what Great West will do, he's just trying to get a number for his house, so that we know how much we can pay him, how much we have to pay him,
Plan, right.
to then go out to all these people in the community and they're
Well, and I think, I think to start that off, it's incumbent on us to at least talk to these other 2 entities. I think that the concept,
community
the
project.
design here, just like we did for Centerville Mill Road, the design is great. I think it's very feasible. It's gonna meet your needs as far as
Yeah, so,
with 3 fields and then potential practice field or
yeah,
whatever.
and we'll still have McCarthy as well for our littler kids.
So let me ask you something. Is there any way that you could turn these so that you could have soccer in the other season?
Yep.
Yeah,
You could do exactly, and I think we
Because
talked
this
about.
we talked
prevents
about that.
soccer
And
from being
I talked to you about that
feasible, right.
originally when we did this plan, was we could set these ball fields up exactly like they do in Helena.
Mm-hmm.
And not only do they play soccer on there, they play football.
Yeah.
yeah.
You could
Yeah, and
certainly
see,
do
and
that.
that's where this is all just something I put together. These can be moved any which way, because like John and I was more, with football, we really didn't talk about football,
Yep.
but the soccer that we did, that
We
we
got flag
actually
football,
talked on
tag
some of
football.
these, you could leave some of the fences off and to where it would be more open and that would give you more usability, but, you can move those however it fits these. Plus, on the ground, we could actually put a couple minors fields in and stuff like that too, to create more ball fields out there. Especially the rooms there on, it's just however they want to design it. And because this from here, this is like 900 by 1,000 here, okay? You still got that over to Antnick's where you could easily put, a couple long holes And then if they did curve around here, you could do, you could put there, or if
Yeah, I
that was
don't,
there,
I would, I
however.
would keep this contiguous with the ball
Ball
field.
field, yeah.
Because you don't want golfers, because they're very restrictive on who gets to go across their courses when they have, because it's
Well,
their
that's why you got the
liability.
gun club, you knock them off as they're going.
And you have to stay off the green.
And you have to stay off their greens, right?
But I mean, so this is my idea to give to Great West, and so everybody else can, put their however in on it.
Planning purposes, these bigger fields are about 3.5 acres apiece. So
Yeah.
3 to 3.5.
The one
That
big
doesn't
one,
include parking or anything.
this one for the high school, I think comes out at right about 4.5 acres. That can be used for high school Babe Ruth. These are Babe Ruth majors. And again, you could actually, on that, if you put, I had one guy,
Okay,
Todd, was saying that you want these wider, a little more separation in between there.
well, and that's why I think, like we talked.
Yeah, you could
Turn them.
Yeah,
Turn them so
yeah,
they're
yeah.
multi-use, because
Yeah,
this
you
is
got
gonna
it.
be perceived as, oh, you're doing this only for baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And this is not, I feel we need to be a little bit more inclusive for all the different
Could be for
agencies.
everybody.
yeah, I agree,
Especially
I
for the
agree.
amount of county
Yeah.
money and/or time that we're gonna be putting into the plan, whether it's trust funds or whether it's, and then the grant monies. And of course, Rotary is, I will say Rotary is looking for different projects to help with also.
But the one thing that found out from talking to Lions International was over and above the amount of money that we could possibly get for doing this, that everything's matching funds. Okay? The national volunteer rate is like $31.58, something like that, that we can use, because from all the people we've been talking to like that, we can build this stuff. We can actually do probably a lot of the dirt work and everything and donate it. All they have to do is give us a bill, and we can use that as matching funds.
Right, we've done
So,
that, we've done
yeah,
that for different
and so,
things.
it's very conceivable. The biggest thing is, I
Yes,
gotta
Mr.
shut up.
Wiley.
No, Bill's wife Mary told me that she raises his hand when he's talking too much, so I just thought
You just,
I was gonna help you guys out so I could maybe try to catch the last half of my boys' baseball game.
that's what works.
Yeah.
I only had one comment on all this,
Go
but
for it.
this little drainage here, this shows up as wetland. So I'm sure the engineer's gonna cover that, because you can do a delineation and prove that it's not. But if it is, then you're looking at a nationwide permit or some kind of permitting to where you disturb this. So that would be, this whole,
Yeah, that would be moving this section over
yeah,
here.
if that's the case.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
on the national database, it shows that as being stream, which
Yeah.
I've went out there and looked at it, and it's,
It's an old irrigation ditch.
it is, but that can be,
Yeah,
Depending the age of it.
Just one more reason why it might be better
Yeah.
to.
yeah.
So let me just ask this, because Nicole didn't know anything about it. Somebody has been out there and put flags.
yeah.
I don't know who
I
that is.
haven't
Do we
either.
know who it is or
Is it
what it
Great
is? They
West?
actually put survey markers with pink
That's
flagging.
what Delger told me this morning.
Pink flagging out there, nobody seems to know, and Nicole said she asked around, and nobody seems to know what it's about.
Yeah.
It's not your contractor?
What contractor?
Great West, no, they wouldn't.
Engineering.
No,
Could've-
they haven't even
Yeah, because
started yet.
we haven't.
We haven't
We haven't
initiated
even-
them yet.
Yeah, they
Yeah, we're
wanted the
just in
concept.
discussion.
I
for-
have not talked to the golf course, I don't know what,
But that
but
would be
it goes
strange
from,
for them
it goes
to-
from Delger over to Antonix, and it kind of weaves strangely. It doesn't follow the ditch at all, that's what
Huh,
surprised
that's
me.
what's strange.
That's weird.
But I'll give you that. So
Okay.
that goes to Great West.
And John, you're good with,
Question.
okay, yes, Al?
So is there some reason you're limited to 3 fields?
2 minutes.
No,
Because a lot of
no.
these complexes are designed with 4 fields in it.
Yeah, no,
Curious.
when we first came up with this, we had no idea. We had no idea at all. When John and Gary and I were talking about looking into getting high school baseball and what we had to do, we just actually drew this up, and, but no, if we could put more fields in here, because if we can get 25 acres, it's totally doable. We can put it in there.
Well, and if you have 4 fields, it seems to fit a lot of the
tournament stuff.
stuff. And you put a tournament basis in here, you're halfway between every place that wants to play tournaments.
Yeah, and we're hosting, youth baseball's hosting a tournament this year off of the
Yeah.
fields we got now, but yeah. When it comes to high school, that's gonna be a contention for us is to be able to do that, yeah.
Okay, so update, discuss, now we need to decide. John, do you have any further comments before we,
He has another,
No, so yeah, so that's Bill's thing.
okay?
So you guys run with it however you need. If you got any questions, I can certainly answer it. What I wanted to talk to you tonight a little bit about was over at McCarthy Park. So we're putting in a lot of work, a lot of sweat equity over there. And we have already done roofing on the dugouts. We're in the process of painting them and re-chain linking the fence on them. I think we talked this last time, but when they put the chain link fence for the backstops in, it's a great job 30 years ago, but they put them in backwards. So the poles for the backstops are actually facing on the inside of the field.
Which is dangerous for the players.
Yeah, players and the balls coming in and stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and switch that around, and we're gonna make some adjustments on the field itself. What we're asking for from Parks and Rec is to see if they could help offset some of that cost. We are going to take care of some bleachers as well. There's an old white set of bleachers that I've talked with the city about. We wanted to repair them, however, looking at them, they're in total disrepair. So it's safer for us to have those pulled out of there than it is to put any more money into them. We've got wood over there that we're gonna go ahead and re-wood the other wooden bench that's over there. And then we're gonna have Mr. Watson in the high school class, they're gonna build a 3-tiered bench system for us as soon as we come up with the funding for that. But with the amount of money that we're putting in for roofs and paint and everything, the total bill comes to $1,584.99. And I'm currently talking with the mayor to see if they can help us offset for the paint as well. We're gonna paint those dugouts, gonna try to do it bulldog blue, and then Townsend Youth Baseball will buy a stencil, and we'll actually have the bulldog stencil on the back of those. So it'll look really nice once we get done with it. So that's some of the costs that we're asking for an offset for from Parks and Rec is for the reconstruction, I guess, of some of the delayed maintenance on the fields.
So I'm sorry, John, you did 1,584, is that?
Yeah,
is that right?
$1,584.99.
That's your current cost already spent?
Yeah, that does include the paint. What we're trying to get with the paint is we're trying to get the city to do that. So if not, then we would have an additional cost for some gallons of paint for that.
So you're asking us for that 1584?
If you, yes, we would like to offset that for Townsend Youth Baseball. I can give you actually copies of the receipts, but I'll need them for our account as well. If we can make a photocopy, I can make a copy and give them the bill, or I'll bill later on as well.
Okay. We're still sitting at 32,000 in our account, and that does not include any of the installation or the decision yet on the vault toilet for, the permit vault
Yeah.
toilet for the Connors Field
or your master plan either.
and the master plan. My suggestion, because this is a rather small amount
Yep.
compared to what Rotary's already put forth, and they're looking for projects, and this is something that's structural, that you go to the Rotary meeting, the next Rotary meeting, and ask them if they would sponsor this project,
Okay, can do that.
because I think they would probably be okay with that,
Okay,
okay?
we could do
I
that.
think we're a little bit in a pickle right now until we can decide how we're going, whether the trust board is gonna help us fund the master plan or not.
Sure.
And then whether we're gonna install that toilet, which,
Gotcha. Do you guys have
future.
historical maintenance records on McCarthy Park at all? What the Parks Board's ever
No.
put into it?
We have zero money for maintenance.
Gotcha.
You have no revenue. There's no revenue.
There's
For the county.
The Parks and Rec
Okay.
the only way Parks and Rec has a budget is if a developer.
Through the offset of the subdivision.
Right.
Green space, I got it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that I would like to see the county do is to change that structure so that we have a maintenance budget, because
Yeah,
all of these things are super great.
yeah, until it comes time to maintain.
But then we have to maintain them, and then there's individuals like yourself that are paying for them out of pocket.
Right.
That's not fair. So, I would love to approve that money today,
That's okay.
but the
You
only.
can't tell us no if we don't ask. right?
Well, and that's, my only hesitation is exactly what Jen said, is because we only have this much money and it almost is all spent. And so, yeah, without saying yes to all these things, so I really appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And I would love to see this more of a partnership moving forward.
Yeah, we gotta try to figure it out, right? Because,
Yeah.
I mean, we got a ton of kiddos that are gonna be doing a ton of sports
And
stuff.
it's foolish for
Yeah.
this board to continue to build
To try to piecemeal.
if we don't have a maintenance plan.
Yeah.
Well,
so
and-
I think that's the next biggest.
Our county is growing
Yep.
exponentially, and if we don't start planning for a permanent type of maintenance program, whether it's part-time hired county employee or funds to hire people on, contract,
Grants or something.
we're gonna be in a world of hurt. And then we're going to have issues where, why are we building stuff that we can't maintain?
Right.
And the questions from the commissioners have already been, who's gonna empty the trash, who's gonna clean the permanent toilets,
It's usually us.
that.
Well, the one thing that, it seems to me that with, we get our money from subdivisions in lieu of parks, so that we get that money. But you're seeing what's happening around the county now. Everybody's dumped going for the big subdivisions. They're going for the minor subdivisions. They don't have to pay nothing. And that's where the county, I think, I agree with Lace, that we need to come up with something that, because other than that, I mean, yeah, we're an advisory board, but just like with this, we should be able to make a decision that, yeah, we support you. And and I think that's something that, I guess, as a board here, we should take in front of the commissioners and just go, we have to have something rectified here to make it more
Right.
workable
We
and
need a
feasible.
long-term visionary solution.
Yep.
This piecemeal little stuff, and Al, I know, is very familiar with.
And we're gonna
how
make
it's
it
working.
happen.
So
I mean,
you just need to.
We're gonna host a tournament and we want folks
Do
to
you
come
have
in.
a schedule for when, we might not be able to give you money financially, but I'd certainly love to help
Yeah.
Other
sweat
ways.
equity wise.
Yep, yeah, we'll take
fans.
sweat equity too. Saturday, May 4th, from 10 to 2, we will all be over at McCarthy Park.
This Saturday?
Mhm.
To my back.
We don't. We just anticipate you showing up and giving grief, Bill.
Yeah, rah-rahing.
Yeah.
Well, and
10 to 2.
Sure.
Yes. And we didn't have the T-ball kids do it because they're like herding cats, but we got our rookies on up to the Babe Ruth kiddos, so, yeah.
Okay.
Should be a good time, yeah. Come on out, we're gonna barbecue and have some pizzas and stuff, and
Well, and Rotary has done that, one day, one school, one day, one hospital. We've initiated programs like that where we get even all our Rotarians and their family and friends to come out and clean up the whole community before Fall Fest.
yeah, okay.
And that kind of stuff, so we can definitely put that out when you have a little bit more notice for us. But
Yeah, yeah, we're just trying to get it through the weather, we were trying
Right,
to do it
right.
2 weeks ago, but yeah.
But John, keep that in mind too.
Okay, awesome.
You know,
I appreciate the time, guys.
Rotary has a little worksheet now for grants, grant requests, so get hold of Janine Stone
Okay.
or one of the Rotarians. I thought I brought it with me tonight, but I did not.
No worries.
And then also just let them know when you have these little work parties that you're looking for helpers, because the Interact Club, as Nicole says, always looking for work to do,
Okay.
to get their name out there as well.
Now,
Sounds good.
Rotary's the second Tuesday and
The fourth, second and fourth
Second,
Tuesday of the
fourth
month,
Tuesdays,
yes,
yeah.
at 6:30 at the Mint.
Got it, in the back of the
Okay.
neck. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good.
All right, thanks,
guys.
John.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay, so, I think the concept, we never made an actual
No,
motion
right.
for this concept.
And do you need anything from Lindsay off her email that she sent, that you want to, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to do concerning the concept design for county property.
I got one question.
Yes.
Since this is county property, okay, and on the master plan, why isn't the county going in front of, the trust board? Because they're calling shots on this. None of the baseball, golf, gun club or anything, they don't have really any say. So shouldn't the county cover the cost of that?
The county is covering the cost through the Parks and Rec Board. That's
That's how that works?
Yeah.
So we actually can't spend the money. We have to say, I approve.
We as a board.
I recommend approval for the county commissioners. The county commissioners can always reject our.
Oh, I see what, okay, so they actually are paying it, but the Park and Rec has to submit everything to
The commissioners.
the commissioners, and then the commissioners turn that to the trust board?
No, we went straight to the trust
Yeah.
board, and we presented straight to the trust board.
Oh, and so, okay, so.
And that's another county entity right there. So,
A little bit different, but it's, yeah.
Yeah, because I think, with the amount of people that are involved in this project, with especially getting high school baseball
Well,
approved, it
that's-
just opened up a flood of.
That's kind of what our job is to be the steward of all of those people. So it's our responsibility as the county board to make sure that everyone is equally represented and heard. And then we present that to the commissioners, because otherwise it'd be too hard for the commissioners to
To
turn.
get everything, okay, yeah, I was missing a piece in there.
Yeah.
So our next step then is give the conceptual design here, and then the golf club would do the same and whatever, or?
So
What if
the way
they
that I
don't?
understood what, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Dirk. The way I understood what Jerry was looking for was similar to what Jen had done for Centerville was, and basically what you have done there, this area, this area, this area. It doesn't need to be schematic, it doesn't need to be, we don't need to say, well, this is this field, this orient. We don't have to have that stuff. We just need to give him an idea of these are the things that we want in this area.
Area, okay.
And then
yeah.
he can take that and go, okay, so I'm gonna have to talk to this group and this group and this group. And I'm gonna have to have meetings with these people so that he can bring us a cost to complete. We're not even at the master plan state. He's not working on that yet. He's working on getting us a cost to what it's gonna take to complete the master.
Okay, now, if we get the costs, whatever comes in, because one nice thing about it is there's no real structures out there yet. Jerry even said.
We can't do anything until that master
No,
plan.
I know, but I mean for their design, he even mentioned this is gonna be fairly easy because there's no structures that he's gotta deal with.
Right.
And like that, so if all of a sudden he comes back, and I'm just picking an arbitrary number, $30,000 to do your master plan. Once we get that number, then we can start the process with the trust board, right?
yes,
Correct, okay.
yes. Number 3 on Lindsay's was when does the board want to start getting feedback from other interest groups like golf, baseball, rod and gun? Again, Nicole probably knows the best process for this. But those were questions from Jerry. And what I'm understanding is that Jerry wants us to go ahead and talk with the golf course and the gun club and come up with a conceptual, at least this section is going to be for the fields, this section's going to be for the rod and gun, and this is going to be for golf course.
And now,
That's how I kind of felt that he wanted us to come up with.
I thought that, the engineering was gonna cover that.
That's
Jerry, right? Yeah, that's the way I understood it.
Jerry's going to do that.
yeah,
Jerry's
because,
going to go to the golf club,
yeah,
and then Jerry's going to go to rod and gun.
That's what I
Because they
understood,
do not
yes.
fall under Parks and Rec.
Right, because what we
Okay.
did, we gave him names and numbers.
But we need to give him a picture though, so that he can, so that we can say, we've thought about this and we've thought about this.
Okay.
And, you know, so just so that he has something to wrap his head around instead of, well, yeah, you know that property out there.
Okay, so then he's gonna end up bringing all three ideas together, overlaying the layers and see if they have conflict.
I think that, but that's something that he'll do when he develops his master plan.
Yeah.
That is the way I understood it.
So he'll get all
Okay.
that information and then give us the price tag to put all that information he gathered into one plan.
Okay,
And the one thing he did bring up too, that the one lady that works for Great West would put the grant together for the trust board. If we didn't want to do it,
that's extra cost.
There was it was actually, it wasn't for the trust board, it was called something.
oh, is that was
Community-
for a separate
community
grant?
development?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, she has grant writing experience, and he mentioned that one as a possibility.
Right. But looking at the trust board application, it really isn't that difficult. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know if that.
They gave us,
think
they
you
gave
said-
us feedback into what they needed, and I
Yeah.
think Jen was working on, they're gonna work on correcting that they
Yeah.
needed.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I think as far as moving this piece forward, in my opinion, if we can give what Bill has come up with, or if Jen, if you want to draw some more schematically scaled drawing to Nicole, then she can work with the Centerville piece and this to give it to Jerry for his next step.
okay. What I want this board then to agree, and I think I heard John correctly when he said he also preferred more contiguous. Great design, good thought, but I think if we agree as a board that we would like to have that 25 acres contiguous with the field that we have, abandoning the road, not
That would be the access for Groton.
right, the access for rod and gun through this parking lot. And then that also would then, allow a safety zone for Rod and Gun Club.
Yeah.
In that. And if we can agree to that, I think that's what we then take back to Nicole, who then relays to Jerry, that this is what we're looking at. We're looking at 25 acres, which would give us the 4 ball fields
Yeah.
with extra space.
And I think, Jen, by doing that, I would agree with that. The only reason why I went with this was first because of the flatness.
Right,
But
I got that.
this would make sense, way more sense. You could tie
Yes.
everything in. And, who was it, there was one area out there that we could have a sunken ball field. And actually, your
won't
dirt
get-
would
we won't
actually
get
be
into that.
no, but I mean, that would actually be your stands. But
Yeah.
that, because there's enough of a swale there, you could do that. But I think that would free this whole thing up for the
Right.
golf course. And same thing, if we went here, you already got your access into here. And, yeah, I would agree with that.
The
Yeah.
wetland not having to,
Yeah, if that's an issue. I mean,
we know anytime that there is, it
Yes.
could be an
yeah,
issue.
I mean, it
Yes.
could be easily overcome. I mean, if the
Yeah.
disturbance is less than 1/10 of an acre or a nationwide permit, you're good. So you could still do stuff there, but.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely don't wanna do anything without checking it though.
no, I like it, I agree, Jen, that's good.
Okay?
Yes, I agree also.
Yeah, because that way, then I think this would be a go. I don't think there would be any complaint from the golf course. There shouldn't be any complaint from the
Well,
rod
we
and
don't
gun.
want to
Well-
assume anything.
And the
Well, no,
other
but I'm
thing
just saying that.
is, we're putting together a plan, but we still have to go through community.
Oh, yeah, 2 meetings, yeah.
So, we do our best, but I think this is a good design to
But now
move forward.
I think like what you said, Jen, I think one thing that'll come up when you get to the community part, if it's not shown on there, possible is the soccer fields. That's gonna be a big,
Well, that's why I said if we do like what Helena did, where they
Yeah.
turned them So that they can be used in the different times for soccer, different days of the week.
Yeah,
From the baseball, whereas the outfields, and we talked about, John and I sat down and talked about that, if you turn them, the outfields can be used for soccer.
yeah.
You don't have to build an entirely separate complex.
Yep.
Yeah, I think as long as that's mentioned in the plan, so when the public looks at it, they see the word soccer, so they know
Yeah.
that that's covered.
Multi-use
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Well, and because soccer came up on when, down there at the skate park and like that, to where all of a sudden, woo, you're taking some of our fields away. And this way, yeah, you just involve more community in there. And I think at that point in time, the trust board's gonna have a hard time on denying it.
Do we need a motion to?
Yes.
Okay.
We need a motion to accept the 25 acres for soccer, ball fields, small dog park, whatever, rod and gun, safety zone, abandoning the, well, rod and gun is gonna have to agree to abandon that access, and then we would then agree to allow them to come through the Connor parking lot right now. If that's the way we want.
No, yeah, because I can ask Mike, he's talked to somebody from
Well,
Rod
I
and
think
Gun.
right now,
I think we
if
need
we
to just get this done, and
We can-
we've already been here an hour, so let's go ahead and close this up, because we still got a couple more. We also have a guest here, okay?
I motion to approve taking the concept design for 25 acres for the multi-use soccer ball field space and presenting that along with the previously completed Centerville Mill Road portion to Jerry Gebrentz with Great West.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? For just getting this to Jerry, okay?
Raise your hand, no, no, shut up. But
All right. So I have a motion and a second to take the 25 acre multi-use, this conceptual plan for the land to Jerry Grebeck. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, motion is no nay, so unanimous motion is passed, and we'll take this along with the Centerville design, and we'll give that to Nicole to present to Jerry.
all right, so you want these two with it, or just that, or what?
Jerry can come up with his own, I think for soccer, he's gonna have to, maybe Aubrey, if you can explain that too.
Yes.
Okay, so what else did we have on,
Just the mid-May, Madam Chairman, just the mid-May meeting to meet with Jerry and have some action items delegated to be ready for that meeting. They need a better cost, so PNR reapplying to trust board. So we just need to kind of schedule the next meeting for mid-May before our 20th meeting, I guess is what she's
okay, I
wanting.
return May 13th, Monday the 13th. I will be back from visiting mom again, because it's Mother's Day weekend, you have to go visit mom. So I'm back on that Monday night, so can we put it on the next Monday?
13th?
No, I'm back on the 13th.
We have our regularly scheduled meeting on
Yes,
the 20th.
is the 20th.
The 20th, okay.
She's saying mid-May, so I don't know if
I
that's,
think that's good, if everybody's good with the 20th.
so you don't need to have one.
I might be on vacation that week. I don't know yet, though.
Okay. Well, as long as there's three of us, we still have a quorum.
But we need to schedule an additional meeting with Great West.
Prior to that.
Yes. I think, right, am I understanding
I think what you
correct,
said-
Deborah?
That's what I understood, but I don't know, because
Are we
it is the
looking-
20th, so, yeah.
Tuesday, the 14th, let's see, more.
Well, and without Nicole here, it's hard to,
It is.
because she's the one that
Schedules it.
schedules with
Have her
them.
get back with us on a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
different
All right.
We
options.
can't.
Yeah, because
It's
we're
hard for us
talking,
to schedule his time.
Yep.
because one thing we were talking about was, until this thing, we get this master plan in place and like that, of meeting like twice a month or something like that. So that would be, yeah, so I'm good with either day.
Okay,
Okay, I'll get with Nicole with that. She already has your design, right, Madam
Yes.
Chairman? Sure.
Oh, yes.
So that, we're just adding that to that one, okay.
okay. So,
Okay, got it.
so Jerry should be able to get back to us, hopefully, if we can get this to him forthwith, we should be able to have something by
By
the
that
20, by the May meeting. Okay. All right, and Connors Field vault toilet, we've already talked about. Maintenance costs to Mark Harvey Field. I hated to defer him, but if we can go over and work. And Mr. Al Christopherson.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for hanging in
Thank
there.
you, absolutely. I know you've put a tremendous amount of work in yours, so let's hear it.
let
What do we
me
got?
just get this up and try to get this up and
Find it if you don't mind.
just cross your fingers that it actually works.
There we go.
God love it. Okay, so now, my eyes are terrible, so somebody's gonna have to,
The slideshow,
but I don't see it right there. Okay,
there you go.
and then from beginning,
Yep,
sorry, I don't have it on my screen.
there you go. Oh,
All right.
32
Oh, I don't
slides.
want that. I don't want that though. What do I want?
That's a timer, isn't it?
I don't want that. How do I get out of there?
Escape, just hit your escape button on the top
Oh
left.
my
There
gosh,
you go.
sorry.
You want a custom slideshow?
Right there.
Yes.
Sorry, my eyes are terrible. Come
I
on.
think that's the one that's gonna,
Why that does not.
you just have to go down to the custom show.
Is that it right there?
Is that the one that's
Oh,
gonna
got
work?
it. Got it. Ah,
No, close that.
no. Why can't it just say from the big?
From the beginning, there should be a,
But if you do that,
timer off.
then it's gonna time. And you don't want do you want your notes on there? You don't want your notes, do you?
no, that's just the next slide.
Is that pause? Is that pause now? Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
But it's not big. I don't.
I think it's, I can.
All right. So you let me know when you want to go to the next slide. Oh, wow. Okay.
We'll make it
Everybody
through.
see that okay?
Yes.
I apologize, it's too small, it's always a challenge to try and get the typing on a slide right, so. you
Oh, yeah,
can
it's
see it,
okay.
And yet, I think what you're trying to get.
Well, you have this too if you need to can look here. All those of you that are close.
So, Madam Chair and board members, it's a pleasure to be here in front of you tonight. My name's Al Christopherson, and I got recruited to work on a committee from the BCDC-sponsored community committee thing, community
Development.
visioning deal. And so recreation was a big component of that, and out of that came a discussion of people looking at trails. So we started off with half a dozen, 8 of us, I think. Probably about 15 people that were interested. I think it's been about 6 to 8 people that showed up, typically for the meetings. So it's time that I get to you guys, because this whole thing that's been put together has been, we've sort of coordinated, and we've had a couple people, Jen and Adam have both been in the committee meetings. So we're tied together. My biggest concern with all this stuff is that people not think that the BCDC Trails Committee is running afoul of what the Park and Rec Board has to do with the trails. And I don't know how much discussion you all have had about trails, but, hopefully maybe some of it's been tied into what the Trails Committee's been doing. But we started off just talking about bike trails. And after now a year of talking about trails and mapping trails and talking to people, it's what I would call, it's the hike, run, jog, bike, equestrian, and paddle trail system. I think we got most of them covered. But I'll get you into a few of them, so go ahead to the next one. Okay. So, the trail stuff came out on the BCDC Community Review Priority List. There were, I think, 5 things that came out of that. And so the trails and the community center thing were 2 of them in the recreation arena. We keyed off of existing plans, which was the Fairgrounds Master Plan. You've been talking about master plans all night. And then the Silos Recreation Area Master Plan. 2 of them that I had my hands personally into. And so we're going to try and use those as kind of examples of where we're headed with the trails and stuff. There are a whole bunch of different kinds of community plans and surveys, the county growth plan, the recreation survey that the Park and Rec Board did, has done a couple of, safe schools, topics, daycare, where are they at, where are they doing. Probably the biggest thing is that we stay tied in with what the transportation corridors are within, through, and across Broadwater County, which are our highways, county roads, and we have waterways. And then the critical infrastructure, and that's our emergency evacuation centers. What are our critical businesses, the local government, health services, schools, recreation, parks. All those become part of the list when you start looking at key infrastructure needs of a community. And some of these trail systems that we'll talk about tie into those kind of things. So that we had a meeting here a couple months ago, and the discussion we got into was that the trail system design that we're looking at really is like, you can either call it the nerve system, or you can call it the blood system of the community and the county. But the idea is these trails or routes tie into all that important infrastructure around the county, and they take people to places where there's history, where there's cultural things, where there's health and recreation things to do, all that kind of stuff. So let's try the next one. So who's been involved? Certainly BCDC, Broadwater County, City of Townsend, and then the community areas. And these are just ones that we've put down that are there because there are people from the community that have expressed interest. And so the Wheatland country, Costin, Raidersburg, Winston, I mean, it's Deep Creek, Dry Gulch, all that kind of foothill country over there. So, and then we look at the kind of people that we have on the committee. We have people that are interested in walking. We have people that are interested in biking. We have people that are interested in floating, horses, just about the whole gamut. And so, and people that use them for just recreation things or for going out for an evening walk, or some people that, you know, they put their little pedometer in the morning and they make sure they got their 6 miles in before 10 o'clock. Like, so we get those kind of things. We got people that are like health coaches, working with people. So we've got a really good community or a committee. And then other interested groups, we've met with the Montana Mountain Bike Association. We've met with the State Fish, Wildlife and Parks, who does a lot with trails and parks. And so we've tried to hit all those kind of things. So let's talk about the next one here. Okay. So in March last year, we started with the community review workshop. We established the volunteers. We took the people we had and we said, if you know people that have an interest in these kinds of things, talk to them and try and get them on the committee. And so we picked up several more people, and even recently with the open houses we did, we picked up several more people. So we're getting a larger group now of people with different interests, different perspectives, different ideas. So this thing is evolving virtually, almost on a daily basis. First thing we did is we said we've got to have agency representatives that we're dealing with, land-based agencies. So we went to the Forest Service, BLM, Bureau of Reclamation, Fish, Wildlife and Parks, Highway Department, and DNRC, and asked them to name a contact for us to work with. And everybody did that. And we've used the heck out of a couple of them. I mean, the MDT guy, we've had him here at meetings. We've driven him up a couple roads. And we've talked to him a lot, and he answers a lot of our emails. Forest Service, BLM, not so much. BOR, they know that we're talking about BOR property, but you know, they're running the dam. Fish, Wildlife and Parks, we've had a lot of discussion with them. And just to cut that discussion short, they said they do not want any developed, acknowledged public trails in the wildlife management area. So we have removed that area from showing any trails. There are the system trails they have out there. They're not shown on any maps. They don't want them in any brochures. And they welcome people to come out there and use it, but they don't want it on a map and that kind of stuff. So we've left that off. And the state has pretty much said, if you're gonna hit any state lands, let us know. I think now we have one trail that might be touching some state lands, so we'll have to keep them engaged. And we've got a mailing list I've got a mailing list of committee members, and I've got a mailing list of everybody else that says they're interested, but they can't come to meetings, keep me informed. So we've got that. Next. So one of the first things we did is set about establishing a vision for what we were going to do. So we kind of could keep our focus, because it's very easy for all of us to go hike a trail, in our minds anyway, do those kind of things. And it's like, we got to stay focused on what it is we're doing. We've rewritten this 3 or 4 times as we've gone through the process. And so this is probably, we'll probably have to do it again here before long. But I'm not going to read it. I'll let you read through it. If you've got a question, ask me. The stuff we talked about kind of is capsulized in that. We tried to talk about things like accessibility, informative, welcoming, connectivity, emergency, critical infrastructure, all those kind of things, recreational activities. And we want to keep these trails to a large degree attached to already existing transportation corridors, because that's where we're going to find the right of ways to be able to do a lot of this stuff. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. So we talk about objectives, and that's to identify the network of trails. That's the map that's in front of you. That's not all the lines that were on that map to start with. And there are a lot of area there that is national forest and BLM lands. They made it very clear to us that if we came to them with a proposal to do like another Copper City mountain trail system, that it would take them quite a while to get to it. They have no interest in opening up their travel planning process to entertain some additional trail stuff. They look at it and say, every trail we have out there is open. You know, some of them are motorized, some of them aren't. A lot of roads are open seasonally, are available. So they just said, think very carefully before you bring a proposal with that. So we don't have any at this point. We're talking about the connectivity, we talked about that. That connectivity, a lot of that is much more to Townsend itself, where you've got a lot of, you've got government offices, health, hospitals, doctors, all that kind of stuff. We talk about incorporating the diversity of users, and that's where this thing keeps changing all the time. It's probably been only just a little over a month ago we had the first discussion about how about we have a water trail that goes all the way down to Missouri from the headwaters to Canyon Ferry. And in that process, we found out that half of it already exists. The Gallatin Valley Land Trust established a paddler's trail from headwaters to the Toston Dam, or just below the dam. And they have now contacted us and are willing to partner up and actually write the grant proposal to go after some funding to finish that trail that they started for the Canyon Ferry. So that's just one of those things that just kind of popped out. We've gone through all the trails. We've identified kind of top 10, so to speak. I'll go through those in a minute. Hopefully the master plan will provide a snapshot of costs and time. As difficult as that is in today's world, cost snapshots are very short. 30 days if you talk to most people. It's like, I won't guarantee anything beyond 30 days. And then you tend to spend quite a bit of time identifying the grant sources. Where do we go after for grants for this kind of stuff? And And so we're talking about the endorsement of residents. We've had 2 public meetings. We've had very good feedback on both of those meetings. Made a lot of, I think, insightful edits to our thinking on what we're doing. And we've gone to the county commission with a presentation similar to this, and just to inform them, made it clear to them that we weren't proposing anything yet, and that we were looking for their feedback. And we've done the same thing with the city council in Townsend. And of course, the last thing is to get the brochure prepared, or the master plan prepared, the part of which will be the brochure. Okay. So we did the mapping process. We sat down as a committee and just had everybody brainstorm. That's why I said there was lots of lines on the map. There was lots of discussion about putting more lines on, less lines. That's where the agency inputs, I think, helped us. So we're pretty much centered on the travel routes, transportation corridors. In most cases, the trail around Canyon Ferry Lake, it's a surprising one, but there's a lot of people interested in seeing that trail. One of the interesting things that's happened in the last month in preparing for to do some additional work with the BOR on the silos area, reading the Canyon Ferry management plan, it speaks clearly in there about the trails. They have acknowledged in their management plan. So, and, we covered the paddlers. I did place a call with Onyx. We're working with them, hopefully, and the Lewis and Clark Heritage Trail Foundation, and trying to put together a digital map of where the actual Lewis and Clark travel route was under the water, that people that are really into that stuff can actually go down Canyon Ferry following the trail, knowing that they're 60 or 80 feet above them. So, okay, and then let's see, I think we got some pictures here. So this is just for those that, when we don't have the map or whatever, the snapshots of the north section of the map, and you just go through the street. The next one, the central one, and then the bottom one is the southern one. So it's just that map in 3 segments. Okay, and then the next one is Townsend. So we sat down with the city map of Townsend, and we sat down with the committee and said, okay, where are the places we're trying to get to? So it was school, courthouse, city offices, hospital, some churches, city parks. We talked about other businesses. Most of the businesses are either on Main Street or Broadway, and so we've got sidewalks to all those, so they kind of automatically fell into that. The thing that was I found interesting about Townsend is there are virtually no east-west sidewalks in this town. There are half blocks that have sidewalks, like in front of churches or something like that, but there are no contiguous east-west, block-by-block sidewalks in this town. And I talk about sidewalks a lot, and there's a lot of direction about what you do with sidewalks and what you do with streets from the standpoint of trying to put designated bike routes and that kind of stuff to them. So there's a lot of work to do and that kind of stuff to clean it up. And whether or not it's something that becomes actually, functional, that you can put signs and paint the streets and those kind of things in towns, and I don't know. It's going to take a lot of work for somebody to figure that out. Okay, next one. Okay, so these are the, what I'd say, the top ones that the committee has talked about. I think it was well supported in our public meetings. We didn't get any pushback from the county or the city. Also acknowledging that it was an informational meeting that we were having with them. But the Missouri River Bridge is the pinch point in Broadwater County. It is the problem spot. And it's a problem with a big P. It's gonna be a major, major job. The Highway Department has said, don't look at trying to hang a cantilevered pedestrian bridge off the side of that bridge. They've done that in Missoula on a couple of them. We talked to one of the engineers out of Missoula that built one and then bid on one, didn't get it. But he was very informative about how it would work. And when we turned to the Highway Department and said, can we do this out here? Their thing was, we're not looking to replace that bridge very soon. And no, you can't. So I suppose we could go hire an engineer consulting firm to go out there and spend a bunch of money looking at the highway bridge and consulting with them to see if there was really a way to do it. But Dave Gates talked to the state bridge people, and they said no. So that means it's got to be a standalone bridge. And so you're immediately talking a bunch of money, millions of dollars. And then Centerville Road from the Indian Road Campground down to Canton Lane goes right past the other part you guys are getting into the master plan. So part of what I'm watching the master planning process for is to make sure that we get this trail connection stuff into that master plan so it shows the complete accessibility of all this parkland that you guys are looking at getting the master plan done. So just however, if there's a way you want us to interact with you to do that, or if you just want us to interact as a Trails Committee, we can do it either way. But it's not that I want to know everything you're doing, but I want to know the process because I want to make sure that we get the trail stuff in there because it'll be important. We've got trails discussion from the fairgrounds to town, and we've got discussion from the silos to town in those master plans. So I think it's important anytime you're dealing with these kind of master plans that we get all those connecting things webbed together. And then so we go from Highway 12 from the edge of town out to the fairgrounds. That's the one where there's been some equestrian discussion. You know, when you have parades in town, it's easier for people to ride their horse a couple miles in here to town, warm them up, get ready for parade, and then ride them back rather than haul them into town and run around city streets trying to find a place to unload them and keep track of them and stuff. Other places, if people eventually want to use a trail system for equestrian, it's a matter of putting a gravel extension on the side of the trail. And it depends on the trail, whether they're a paved trail or already a gravel or dirt trail. The fourth one there is the Silos Road Trail. That's from Highway 287 to the bar, all the way down to the recreation area. That one was identified in that master plan. And then the next one is Harrison from Canton Lane to Delger, out Delger to 284, back to Highway 12, and back to the fairgrounds. So it's and then if we have the one from the fairgrounds into town, then you've got the loop all the way around, and that's about a 6-mile loop.
The one thing I think, if this thing goes, that from North Harrison to Canton out to Delgers would be a prime trail. I mean, that's something that could be put in use because I know Jen, we've talked about on the amount of traffic out there to where we could protect the kids riding bikes and stuff like that. That would be, I think, a very important trail.
And I think, I agree 100%. That's the discussion we've had, is that if that recreation land gets developed, which is what you're talking about with the master plan, and part of that should be a separate trail system along the road, not using the road as the route.
Right.
And it ought to go to Delger, and it ought to go clear to the golf course, maybe even to those subdivisions.
Yep.
But you're exactly right, and that's kind of why this is all coming together like this. Okay, then City of Townsend, the routes in town, and then 287 from Boston to Townsend. So the regular highway, and that's, what is that, mostly 5-lane now. Highway department, you know, they look at it, their perspective is they got an 8-foot shoulder on the road, you wanna ride your bike on it, fine. They don't pay for trails on highway right away. It's still gonna be somebody else, they'll work with you on it. And we are now communicating strongly with the highway department when they go from the top of the hill out here to the silos with this next 5-lane segment up here in a few years. About how we design that trail in there. I think they're being real positive with us. I think we might have the opportunity where they won't build a trail, but they'll make sure the right of way's level. So, I mean, that's a big deal. That'll save a lot of money.
And I would tell you, Al, we as a community have to fight for it.
Yes, yes. And that's.
Otherwise, they will do what they feel, which is move traffic through
Yes.
the community.
Yeah. And we've had several phone discussions about how to go about some of the things, to do the things. I mean, when you look at the development going on from here to the silos, frankly, it's on both sides of the road. And so we're talking that we really need a trail on both sides of the road. And when you got a 5-lane highway going 80 miles an hour, you do not want to put a pedestrian crossing up there. You want an underpass. So those are the kind of things we're talking about with that.
Even the connectivity between those subdivisions, there is no connectivity between, at one point, we lived in one, my brother lived in one, my dad lived in one, and you have to go like this.
Yeah. Well, if you look out there now, I mean, it started out, you know, the little ATV track on both
Yeah.
sides. Well, now it's vehicles.
Yeah,
Full-size vehicles riding those tracks on both sides,
yeah.
just because of that.
Right, and you have to look at both motorized and non-motorized.
Yeah.
So
Right,
that's what frontage roads were always used for.
And that was one of the things I know that we talked about with them was you better look at a frontage road system in here along with the trails, so.
Have you been in contact with, over on corridor, on 93 corridor, where they have the walking and bike
Stevensdale
path?
Trail, yeah.
Have you been in contact with those people on how they got that put in?
They got that put in during my tenure because I was part of the group that worked with the architect to do that one when I was the non-motorized pedestrian coordinator. And it was a tremendous amount of fundraising, public input. There was consternation between the bicycle groups who were commuter groups versus the ones who were recreational groups. They're totally different. So it was a compromise on it, but yes, and it took quite a few deaths actually to validate that trail.
Yeah,
And it was very unfortunate that that's what happened. But,
that's one of the points we keep making here is that we don't have to have death to be able to make this stuff right.
no, we need to have a vision, and you've got a great
Yeah.
vision.
And, yeah, and, you know, thank you for your input on the committee, because it's been good for us. Then from Townsend to the Silos Road, we talked about that one. And then the Copper City, the mountain bikers up there are looking to try to get a trail from basically down at the Ted area through the brewery up to the Copper City without going on the highway. So I can whip through these other ones pretty good because they're just a repeat but more detail. So there's Missouri River Bridge. That's a 500-foot bridge. And when they built the 500-foot pedestrian bridge in Missoula over Reserve Street, that was $7.5 million, I think, something like that. And that was
20 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is not going to be cheap, but it's important. Okay, next couple pictures. Those are just, the one on the left in the center is the bridge out here. It is a steel I-beam, but it is 2 different sizes of I-beams, 2 different strengths of I-beams. And I think that's why the state said, yeah, this is going to be a mess. And the one on the right is, was another bridge in Missoula, I think. And this is the overpass bridge on 15 in Helena. And then the one there on the right is the Madison River Bridge at Three Forks on their trail system down there, the Headwaters Trail System. Okay. Centerville Road, it's just, we talk about tying in with the 10-acre park, and that one, okay. The fairgrounds to the airport, 1.5 miles. It's actually a pretty straightforward piece to put a trail in. And it would be a really nice trail to build, and wouldn't be too bad. we did, the discussion we had with the city is where's the water tank going and where's the water line going? If we could time it right with that contractor, maybe we could get a lot of goodwill done and that water line might become the trail.
Now, have you involved like the rodeo grounds or the fairgrounds? Because a lot of times where they'll trail their horses up alongside the highway.
I haven't gone to them, but we've had people that have said this is what they do. So that's why I was saying the equestrian trail between here. And all we would do, the discussion there was probably just, it's a 2-foot dirt gravel on the side of the asphalt.
Yeah.
Okay, next. Okay, this is the loop trail out from Harrison out Canton, Delger, so we listen to the discussions you guys have, and that's why it talks about talking to access to ball fields, Rod and Gun Club, Old Baldy. And as your evolution of the master plan out there works, we can strengthen those discussions of why that trail system would be so important and what it needs to be.
I go on.
Silo's roadside trail, we've already had discussions with some of the county folks about that. That whole system out there, the whole Silos Road needs to be upgraded, it needs to be widened. The kind of use on that road right now, you've got, if you get 2 pontoon boats meeting each other up and down that road and you're trying to walk, there's no road. You're off in the grass. Most of the time we're off in the grass anyway. I walk that probably 3 times a week, just up to the highway.
Skip one.
And it is, summertime is, traffic is atrocious and you're dealing with people that aren't paying attention to driving. They're already thinking about being in their boat or setting their camper up or whatever. So it's just a dangerous place, it needs to be fixed. It's gonna take about 20 feet of right of way out of that BLM section, so. 287 to Toston, that's just along the major highway. There are alternative routes to that across some county roads, coming up Flynn Lane and out through there, Lower Deep Creek. Okay. And bridge to Silos, we talked about that one. So we've done our city council and county commissioners meetings. We've had 2 public meetings. And this just continues our presentations to other groups and organizations in the county. We get the kinds of stuff we get, we're researching those. And so our next step is to start building the master plan. And so we'll get started on that. We're going to have a meeting Thursday. If any other want to come to the meeting at 6 o'clock at the lodge on Thursday, we're going to talk about building the master plan. And we'll say some of the things that will be in it are construction standards. That's actually fairly straightforward for most things. There are standards, published standards for building these kind of trails. Look at the ownerships, who's got them. We're going to put a whole chapter together just on funding, grants, where they come from, those kind of things. And then we've had a lot of discussion about stewardship. Same thing you guys are talking about. If you build it, who takes care of it? What do they do? What does it take to take care of it? How do you have to do that? That's going to be part of this master plan, is to lay that out. And then what kind of nonprofits, what kind of endowments can be set up so that it's not just pay us today and we use your money and fix it today. It's like, how can we set it up for long term? And so interestingly enough, all the trail system going on in Gallatin Valley, through the Gallatin Valley Land Trust, they take 10% of every dollar that they are donated to, and it goes into their endowment fund. So that money then is always paying its way. And they've already put almost $1 billion into their endowment. And they've been doing it like 5 years. Wow. So that may be a bigger answer for some of this, because I've had the discussion with the commission and the city council people about, so we're not interested in paying for all this stuff. So, we're going to continue to find things that we don't know. from day one, we found out there's a lot of things we don't know, and the farther we get, the more things we find we don't know. But we're gonna get the master plan drafted and identify some solutions to issues that are in there. And one of the things we talked about is that, we as our committee don't have all of our interests lined up in the same place. Each one of us probably has our own favorite trail. We'll continue to provide, excitement, inspiration to people that want to take on a trail and help them and work through with what we know. Not that we're experts at it. I mean, shoot, a year ago, couldn't even talk about this stuff. So, and then help people get stuff done. And then we want to make sure that people know there's a plan, that it's a good plan. And but people are going to be responsible for the full implementation of it. County government is not going to build these trails just to go out and do them on their own. You guys as a Park and Rec Board probably aren't, but if we get you interested in some trails, that'd be good. And then how to use the thing. So these are just, you talk about a ballpark, there's a trail right through a ballpark. That's the kind of, I think that's the kind of vision that you guys are building and that our group is building with the trails and how to interface all this stuff. And that's what's exciting. It's all these things coming together. So there's several of these. That's the Missouri River. Oh no, that's a trail, the headwater trail system down at 3 Parks, through the golf course and the Frog Ponds. This is the Missouri River Paddlers Trail. We don't see any reason we need to change the name just because it's in Broadwater. It already is in Broadwater County, actually. But it starts at Headwater State Park, and they are excited about getting us in with them and getting that thing done to, if nothing else, at least to the bridge to Indian Road Campground down here as a takeout.
All right, because it takes you right through Crimson Bluffs, and their Crimson Bluffs chapter
Yes.
might also add into
Yeah,
it.
and Fish, Wildlife and Parks has several access, so I mean, it's a multi
York's Island.
interest deal, so. I think that's just that's the Headwaters Trail map they have, and I've talked to those guys, they're currently trying to extend their trail to Logan, and they're coming at it from 3 Forks on one side, Manhattan on the other, and it'll be the linkage in Gallatin County then from 3 Forks all the way to Bozeman, or to Gallatin Gateway. So, next, and this is just some more Headwaters Trail stuff, and kiosks. That's it. So, questions? I know I went longer than I
You did. We're running pretty late today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
If there are no questions,
No.
thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much,
thank you.
Al.
Yeah.
We,
I'll be
we'll
paying attention
continue.
to your master plan to make sure we get the trails thinking into it and some other stuff, but I'm personally, I'm excited that you're doing what you're doing. That the
encouraged.
county needs this, and the county needs this vision, and I think you're gonna find a lot of support for things that come out of it, so,
I think so.
yeah.
I think so, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it would be nice if we could start looking at some of the planning of these developments and requiring curbs and sidewalks, because it's, once people get used to using that, as we've seen in Townsend, parking RVs, parking trucks, whatever, without curbs and sidewalks, it's very hard to get them to change their minds and allow sidewalks and curbs,
So there's a block down in the corner of that map, it's the Wheatland Hills, all that. I don't know how many meetings I've been to, especially planning stuff, subdivision stuff. And people are already complaining about traffic on the roads, they can't walk on the roads, they can't let their kids get out on the roads. That's all solvable if we would get ahead of that curve and say, when you develop a subdivision, you put an easement in that subdivision on every lot. It says that someday there's gonna be a sidewalk through there.
If you have just one block, the block, people got together as a block and said, we're gonna have a sidewalk, and the next block said, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and
Thanks,
finish
Rob.
up the
Thank you.
meeting. No other comments. Next meeting, May 20th at 6, and we will look for putting Nicole letting us know when she's available to talk with Jerry again. So
Yeah,
that we
you
can
read those
present
plans.
these. And I have motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Second.